Welcome everybody. This is the session for the most highly motivated participants, the last session of the Info Days and the last session of the day on cross-cutting issues or activities that pertain to all the missions. I'm here today with my colleagues Agnès Hegivarine-Nagy and Giovanni Carato, and myself, I am Philippe Martin. So we will talk to you about social innovation. This is what I will present first. Then Giovanni will talk to you about a call on universities, and Agnès will inform you about tips and tricks on how to succeed. She works for the Research Executive Agency. So first slide, please. So why have a call or calls, a set of calls under the mission's cross-cutting activities? Because actually they are generic, they are cross-cutting by definition, and they don't belong to one cluster, one mission in particular. They have been formulated in response to perceived new needs and opportunities, and they actually are experimental. So we're doing innovation in the context of innovation funding. Why is social innovation important for the success of the missions? Well, first, to make the missions more relevant to citizens, to increase buy-in, and to boost the impact. We see social innovation as a means to increase the effectiveness of the missions. And we also see social innovation as a means to empower the missions as system changers, because after all, the missions are about changing Europe, changing the way we're doing things, the way we are handling those key strategic issues. Next, please. For social innovation, we decided to have 3 actions, 2 calls, and 1 action not subject to calls. The first action concerns networking, essentially, and establishing a relationship between social innovators on the one hand and people, investors, who finance social innovation. The second call is to set up a series of agreements between the European Commission and consortia to establish a long-term relationship, financial relationship. And those are the so-called framework partnership agreements. The last action concerns actually the financing of the financial agreements between the Commission and entities, and they are specific grant agreements to support social innovation in the missions. Next slide, please. So why, you would ask, why do it the way we did it? Or why propose what we're proposing? To enhance the funding environment for social innovation, to make it better, essentially. And the other big challenge, which is a challenge for anyone involved in social innovation, is upscaling. That means any kind of scaling that you can imagine, geographical or otherwise. It's a real challenge. We have lots of very successful small projects, social innovation projects, but they remain small. What we want is to either see those small projects multiply across the geography, or those projects grow and deliver more impact to more beneficiaries. As you may know, many of you may know, we submitted a call previously, which was nicknamed the Social Cat. It elicited significant interest, but for technical reasons, we're not able to sign the grant agreement. And So first, let us be clear that membership in the Social CAT consortium is not a prerequisite, far from that. And we tried to learn. I think the idea was good. We think that the idea was good, and we tried to learn from it. And this is why we have chosen the triple construct for the action. And essentially what we're doing is we're making sure that there's a higher funding rate for beneficiaries being those who deal directly with the European Commission, those who write the application, the proposal. And so 1/3 instead of 1/4 of the eligible costs will be reimbursed. We also wanted to make sure that the third-party beneficiaries, the people that we're really concerned would get the most money and most support, will get 100% funding rate. And then we also weaved in some flexibility for implementation as long as the budget is respected. Next slide, please. So that gives you, this is a visual that basically says the same thing and puts a relationship between those three components. A network that builds capacity, an important aspect that we actually strengthened in response to requests from the member states, and this matchmaking activity, the framework partnership agreement that establishes a long-term relationship with the Commission, within which applicants have to propose an action plan. But please note, no money is associated with the FPA. The FPA is void of budget. The money is part of the SGA, which is the specific grant agreement, within which applicants will have to demonstrate that they actually they have the capacity to roll out the action plan defined in the FPA, to manage the EU grants, that they have that capacity as well, that they will finance third parties 100%. Next slide, please. So in this slide, which summarizes the three actions, to synthesize the answers that you might already have, there will be only one CSA. The duration will roughly be 3 years. The budget estimated to 2.5. The FPA will last roughly 5 years. The duration will be roughly 4 years. And the budget, as I already said, is 0. The requirement here is for the applicants, the members of the consortium, or the individuals who apply, because you have that flexibility too, you have to demonstrate that you are an investor in social innovation. To preempt or answer in advance a question that you might have, the 5 FPAs are not related to the 5 missions. Each FPA has to cater to all the missions. Last, the SGA, there will be 1 per FPA, so in total 5. The duration will be roughly 3 years, and the total budget for all the SGAs is going to be 10 million euros, which means that we expect, on average, to have 2 million euros per SGA. Now, some may ask themselves, how will it work? Will you open a call for SGAs? No, this is an action without a call. So can we apply? No, you cannot apply. The Commission will invite you to an SGA. Next slide. And, well, that was the end. Now, Giovanni.
Thank you, Philippe. Thank you so much. Good afternoon to everyone who follows us online. Today I'm talking to you about a new activity, a new topic that we have decided to include in the work program, in the last amendment of the work program of Horizon Europe 23-25. And this action is related to knowledge institution as focal point of transdisciplinary research and innovation activities. What does this mean? So basically, we received from some stakeholders the need, the request of a stronger involvement of universities and research institution vis-à-vis local innovation and research. So we want to target a more local level. Next slide, please. And why we decided to target universities, research institute, and higher education institutions? Well, because we started to do some research, some analysis, and part of this analysis told us that we took into consideration a report from the UN General Assembly of 2018, which mentioned that in society we can consider four different levels, which are governance, economic and finance, and the case is that universities has the capacity to link the local area, the local aspect, with all these four aspects that are related to societal transformation. So as you can see from this slide, knowledge institutions is knowledge is spread through institutions such as universities, research institutes, and they can target actually different levels. So why is this action contained into this part of the work program? Well, because this is the link that we made. So in order to empower local actors in providing a European level and European added value, we link this with the mission targets. So basically, this what we can call. You can go to the next slide, please. Next one, sorry. This experimental action has three levels of importance. One is that it engages in mission for stakeholder groups that are typically not reached by R&I support, because thanks to the action of the university, we can target this local level that normally in other projects of Horizon Europe are not targeted, because they tend to facilitate big consortia of bigger entities. This action also has the aim to target not necessarily transnational partnerships, which doesn't mean that this is not a possibility, but is not a requirement as in other action from Horizon Europe. Why? Because we want to target the local interest, the local possibility of research and innovation, and this sometimes is an interest, in particular for a specific area of the European Union, and also for associated country, of course. So it's not required. It's possible, but it's not required. And then and then the third element is related to the possibility of networking and concrete contribution that the mission platform can provide also to university. They can be a useful tool, and we consider them important for giving the European added value that is searched by this action. This action allows also financial support to third parties, and award also Seal of Excellence that implies a reflective learning, analysis, success, and failure with other mission projects. So also this element can be an added reason to join this and to participate in this action. Next slide, please. So, call and topic conditions. So let's summarize a bit about the numbers of this action. So this action will be a RIA, research and innovation action. So we are not searching actually for a coordination and support action. We don't want to assist, create networks, assistance. We want to, we would like at least, to create real innovation, real something new, and we want to give the university this possibility to be the coordinators, the real aim to the real soul that moves all this action. The budget is 50 million, so basically, let's say 2 million per project, and we would like to, and we are giving, the idea is that to cover all the missions, so basically 2 grants per every mission. So in total, let's say 7, 8 projects will be funded. And then another element that should be taken into consideration is the fact that 3 legal entities must establish, in this case, in at least 1 member state, so the consortia can be created at national level. The project coordinator must be a secondary or higher education establishment or a research organization. And the seals of excellence will be awarded to applications that are exceeding all the evaluation threshold. We can jump to the next slide, which is related to the expected outcomes. So, of course, it's in the mission work program. So, research outputs must be, let's say, provide an EU mission contribution. So, they must contribute to the achievement of the mission objectives. So this is for sure one of the outcomes of the project that are coming from this action. The second one is giving, we are expecting university to develop their roles as designer and manager of transnational, transdisciplinary research and innovation project. So also empowering university and giving them an additional role that may have covered already, but this is an additional opportunity for these entities to, have an impact on local and regional aspects of research and innovation. And then, as a third point, it should be pointed out the possibility of the university to move along these 3 axes where we expect an impact. So, the research and proper research and innovation, education, training, and skills, and also public engagement and societal impact. So along these 3 axes, we are expecting the different proposals. So these should be the 3 areas where this project should target. Next slide, please. These are some examples from the scopes that I wanted to add here. Something that maybe was not mentioned before could be the strong scientific lean in its design and operation of this topic. So we also include university because we want this RIA to be science-based with a strong science motivation behind. So it's important that this should be included in the proposal. And I would like also to mention the 4th point. So the recognition of university as impartial, competent, knowledge-based actor that empowers them in this role of being, of creating an area of interest and influence around them and around this activity. So to empower the local entities and local association, university we believe they can cover this role, but also research. I'm just saying university, but also higher institution and research institutes. Next slide, please. Other elements that should be taken into consideration are here again repeated, the importance of the EU mission impact and the engagement in concrete transdisciplinary research and innovation activities. Missions must be brought to the regional and local level. That's why this action is in this part of the work program. There was also this, as you can notice in the slide, this element where this European added value and these activities should the European and mission influence should be clearly reflected in the project communication and dissemination activities and is considered part of the expected impact. So this is another tip for applicants to please really take into consideration carefully this element. Next slide, please. And also, this was something suggested in our reflection. It came out. We would like, with this action, to avoid what is called the follower approach. So, to avoid that the region and the local, one project set up a new system that then the new project, the new research activity that then is basically followed by other regional entities and basically copied. So what is called the follower approach. We don't search for front runner, we search for real research and innovation activities that must be different one to the other. So we are not funding projects that are actually very similar one to the other. We really search diversity. So there is, however, no limitation to any region already supported by other projects to propose a project unrelated to the former. So that's clear. But we consider that it should be pointed out in this presentation. And next slide, please. These are the contacts of the colleague that has been working on the two previous four topics previously presented. And if you have any question, Slido is open. Me and my colleagues will be here to reply to all your queries. Thank you so much.
So, Agnes?
Thank you. I will continue with the tips and next steps for the applicant. The next slide, please. So as you know, the calls are published on the Funding and Tenders portal, and together with the topic text, we are publishing all the necessary documents as well. You may find the work program, the general annexes to the work program, all the submission and evaluation templates, and the link to the program guide of Horizon as well on the portal. These are very interesting documents. Maybe don't read them all at once, but select the sections that are really relevant to you. So if you'd like to know all the details of the topics that were discussed just now, please go to this link, which I've added in the second bullet or in the first bullet point, and then you will be able to download the work program, because especially for the specific grant agreement related information, you will not find yet the details on the portal, but they are all available in the work program. So that's important, that the details are always available in the work program. And then let's go to the next slide. Just a reminder that we have already opened the call of the Cross 01. We opened the submission for the Cross 01 call. This means that you can already go to the submission system and download any call-specific templates. It will be especially important for the Framework Partnership Agreement. The first topic, which is the coordination and support action, that's a standard call, so it doesn't have a specific template, but always go to the submission system to download the editable Part B template, and of course to fill in any web forms. The call will close on the 25th of September, so you will have sufficient time to prepare all the details. The next slide, please. Now, related to the second topic, which is the Framework Partnership Agreement, it's good to know in general what does it mean that you are going to have a Framework Partnership Agreement related proposal. It really focuses on a long-term cooperation. It's very important that the members of this Framework Partnership Agreement are usually kept the same all throughout the execution of this partnership agreement. For the individual specific grant agreements, a smaller subset can be part of it, but in this case, as the construction of the concept is basically linked strongly to the Framework Partnership Agreement, I would say normally we expect that the same partnership will apply for the specific grant agreement as well later. Now, related to the framework partnership agreement, which will come up first, it's very important that that is an umbrella agreement with all the partners included. So if you suspect that later on you will need to add additional partners, I say it needs to go through an amendment process, but it's very rare. So by default, we expect that the current partnership of the framework partnership agreement will remain stable. And then the next, no, don't go to the next slide, thank you. So the next point to remember is that the framework conditions governing potential grants to beneficiaries on the basis of an action plan, which will have to be defined for the framework partnership agreement. There are plenty of details in the work program text. So if you read the work program, you will know exactly what type of questions you will have to respond to so that you would have a good evaluation result for the framework partnership agreement proposal. The action plan will have to focus on objectives, methodology, as well as the impact section on the outcomes, the longer term expected outcomes of the proposal. And then later on, when it comes to the specific grant agreement, you will be able to define smaller details which will be relevant on a shorter term for the specific grant agreement. As said already, the framework partnership agreement will have no budget. It also means that the Part A will be a very short proposal. So mainly you will have to focus on the description of the action plan and the objectives and the umbrella conditions. And the beneficiaries, as I've mentioned, will have to be identified already in the FPA proposals. Yes, as we haven't said that yet, that only those will be invited to the specific grant agreement application stage who will have good results during the evaluations of the framework partnership agreement evaluations. The next slide, please. Yes, there are plenty of specificities in this topic. So again, please check the specific requirements. The first one is that the call targets funders of social innovation. So in most cases, we talk about any legal entity who can apply, but in this case, the legal entities will have to be funders of social innovation, which may include foundations, philanthropists, national research and innovation funding agencies, and other public bodies or private investors. To apply, they have to demonstrate that they have a track record as social innovation investors or that they have funded social innovation projects. It's very important that you describe your experience and the profile of the entities in the proposals. Otherwise, you will not be able to comply with this very important requirement. Again, in the work program, you will see very detailed description about the next 3 points that I will mention, that the outcomes, the wider impacts will have to be described, as well as the action plan. The next slide, please. As I've said, the Part A part of the proposal, which consists of the web forms, will be very short for this framework partnership agreement. We just require general information and the list of participants, but all the rest will have to be described in the Part B in a quite a detailed way, because the page limit now will be set to 70 pages. The submission system will allow maximum 70 pages, which means after that, if you would upload a longer document, it will simply blank out the additional pages. So please make sure that the action plan will be detailed enough, but not too long, so that we would have all the necessary details for the evaluations, and you could convince the evaluators about the good action plan. Now, compared to the standard framework partnership agreement proposal template, we have added one point under the excellence section, which is related to the requirement in the work program that describe the methodology of the action plan as required in the work program. The 70 pages maximum applies all across the Part B. We have written how to best distribute possibly amongst the different sections, among the excellence, impact and implementation sections, these pages, but you will see how you would like to do it best. Just make sure that the information will not be missing from the proposal itself. Yes, I have said that already, that only successful applicants will be invited to the next step to submit a proposal for the specific grant agreement. The invitation will then take place just between the applicants and the Research Executive Agency, which will take care of the evaluation of the proposals. The next slide, please. Yes, some more details about the action plan. So please go and please detail the necessary details for the projects that you are going to fund and select, that you would like to invest in the future. Describe the funding strategies and practices, including the selection and award procedures. As you know, in the specific grant agreements, you will be able to give applicants so-called financial support to third parties. So third parties meaning who are not part of the consortium. So we expect that you will describe this method of selection and award procedures already in the Framework Partnership Agreement concept paper, which is your action plan. Again, also some details on how to make sure that you can scale up social innovations, how you plan to have the necessary financing in place. The financial architecture is an important part, as later on the specific grant agreements will finance basically 33% of the maximum of the project's budget. So it's very important that you describe how the additional funding will come to the project. And we would like to see this concept coming through already in the framework partnership agreements. And then for the monitoring and reporting, how you are planning to monitor and report the upscaling of social innovation projects. Again, more details in the work program. The next one, please. I've mentioned this already, how a proposal consists of a Part A and a Part B. For the coordination and support action, which is topic 1, the Part B limit is 30 pages. And for the research and innovation action, which was the second call, it's a research and innovation action with 45 pages. The next one, please. For the proposal submission, I have included some tips and tricks. There are plenty of other information in the Funding and Tenders portal. So I would just mention the main points. First of all, the topic page will give you access to the submission service, but only the coordinator should start to draft a proposal itself. All the other partners should be invited by the coordinator by adding a contact person and an email address. And especially for the coordination and support action, if there's a long list of participants, please make sure to leave enough time to complete the Part A, which consists of, quite a long list of additional questions regarding the researchers participating, experience, publications. For the Framework Partnership Agreement, we expect that this will be part of the Part B of the proposal, as there's no place for that in the Part A. And then please make sure that you submit the first version as early as possible. You can redraft it, you can always replace it with a new version, but at least we need to have a good submitted version in the system so that we could evaluate it later on. The next slide, please. This is just a view of the submission system. On the left-hand side, you can download the cause-specific template from the submission system. And below that, I'd say the most important is the green button which says IT How To. That gives you access to all the details of the proposal submission. And the next slide, please. Next. Yes, thank you. And just last minute tips as my time is over. So please make sure that you use the time well and you start in time to prepare the proposal, especially as only the final result of the Part B will go into the system. All the previous exchanges will have to happen in between the consortium members, but the Part A will have to be drafted by each of you. Mainly the coordinator, but the participants may also complete their sections. And then for the consortium, please make sure that each type of action has its own requirements regarding the eligibility. In these calls, there's also specific eligibility requirements, so make sure to read it in the work program text. Next slide, please. And from this slide, the most important, I'd say, is the Research Inquiry Service. If you have more questions, you can contact us via the Research Inquiry Service too. And then we may be able to prepare more topic-related questions. On the topic pages later on, we might still publish topic-related questions and answers. These are the most frequent questions that we get or we assume that are unclear. And then there are videos on the Funding and Tenders portal related to the evaluation details and some procedures. Those are also very useful. Or under the events page of the portal, there are webinars, and you can really see a big variety of webinars about the submission system, the evaluation of proposals, and about the generic Horizon Europe related know-how. The next one, please. Yeah, just a link for the national contact points. I will not go into the details. If you need help on a national level, you can always check the national contact points on the Funding and Tenders portal by sections, by countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Agnès, for all those tips and tricks. Now we will try and address the questions that you have put to us through Slido. And I guess, Giovanni, the first question is for you.
First and second are for me.
Maybe you want to read them?
Yes. So, first question that I see right now is, even if the focus is on local, so cross 0201, so the university action, even if the focus is on local action, do you see added value in having an international consortium with several cities included? So the first thing that came to my mind is saying no, actually at the evaluation level there is no particular advantage in having an international consortium. Let's just say that this action is focused on local, so it's normal to think that to have an impact, to have a new approach, a new innovation at a very like granular level, of course, who has interest in doing that? Normally, local entities, not an entity coming from the other side of Europe, for example. But it's not excluded. So if you are able to build a consortium that has a very interesting proposal, even if it's international, well, of course, we will take it into consideration and we will award it with a grant if that's the case. I think it's. I hope I clarified the doubt. Then I go to the second one. It's still for me. So, how do you define local? Would a regional approach be okay? That's a good question. Local is quite a tricky word. We understand. Let's say that everything that's not at national, like local, province, there can be several approach to this word. The important element for me is that there must be in the scope and in particular in the outcome of the action, there should be an impact on a reality which is related to a city, which is related to a specific area of the European Union, or also for an associated country. Of course, I always want to remind it. So it's open. For sure, we are not referring to a national complete level. We really want to tackle little more granular realities. So a regional approach would be okay? Absolutely, yes.
So I guess the next question is for Agnès and myself, and since you touched upon it in your presentation, Agnès, maybe you would want to answer.
I can start. Yes, can funders be added to the FPA after the FPA has been awarded? So normally the framework partnership agreements partnership is fixed when we sign the agreement. There can be exceptional cases, and maybe this can be one of that. But normally, if it's known at the beginning of the action, then the partnership stays stable. So I'd say exceptionally.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. Okay. Thank you very much. So then the next question is for me, I believe, which is should the project contribute to all objectives of the selected mission, or is one objective and replication potential to other objectives sufficient? I think it's a really useful question to ask because it enables me to clarify a number of points. The first one is that we did not write the call with the idea that one FPA or one project would serve only one mission. Ideally, we would like projects to serve a maximum of missions in a very fair and balanced way, because those are cross-cutting calls by definition. The other thing is, so then the question comes about one objective. I don't think that choosing to answer one objective would be a very wise strategy, personally. Again, because we want to have a cross-cutting, horizontal impact as comprehensive as possible. I hope that clarifies things. Maybe
if you want,
Giovanni,
I may add something, because I think this was related to the 0201, which is the university action. And I think I understand what they mean with this question. So I mentioned at some point that we are targeting to fund at least maximum two, to give 2 grants per mission. So should a project contribute to all objectives of the selected mission? No, no, it's not a mandatory rule, but the biggest, as my colleague was mentioning before, the biggest coverage it has, the best it is. And and or is one objective and replication potential to the other objective sufficient? As I said, the widest it goes, the better it is. There is no mandatory rule to cover all the objectives. So I hope this covered the request.
Thank you, Giovanni, and sorry for stealing your question. So then the next question is, will all calls from the funds need to be open to all Horizon countries? If so, why are there 5 FPAs to ensure widest possible geographical coverage? So the calls are open to all member states and countries associated to the framework program. We are not assuming that every single participant in the framework program will benefit from a project in their country. But we expect to have different countries concerned. And then 5 FPAs, in fact, are not related, the number 5 is not related to the widest possible geographical coverage. We seek the widest possible geographical coverage within each FPA and each SGA. That is the spirit of the call. I hope this answers your question. Then the next question is, what is the minimum required number of legal entities to participate in a proposal? Here I believe that the number can be 1. At least initially this was the idea that we had, that we didn't want to set a minimum number of legal entities. But maybe you want to comment on that, Agnès? No? Okay. Then it's for you again, Giovanni.
Yes, here we go again. So next one is about secondary education establishment. Be coordinators of the proposal. It is in the eligibility condition, but no in the topic text. Yes, also secondary education establishment can be coordinator of the proposals. I will be very strict to the point, yes. Sorry if it was not included, maybe because of a matter of space in the text, so it was not repeated there, but yes, they can be.
So then the next question is, if there is a consortium with a large geographical coverage, what do you advise? Split and submit multiple FPAs so that the future SGA budget is sufficient? It's a good question. And I would be hard-pressed to give advice. As we said, the estimated budget per SGA is 2 million. This is on the assumption that we will actually have 5 FPAs. But we actually don't know yet. The only thing that we're sure, we don't know yet which budget will be assigned to each SGA. We only know for sure the total budget. Again, do you have any comments, Agnès?
No, it really depends on the number of successful FPA applicants. How do we have to divide the available SGA budget amongst them? Yes.
Thank you. Giovanni, Tokitu.
Cross 0201, is there an expectation on how to demonstrate the eligibility of being a funder of social innovation? Well, probably it's actually for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the safe route to take is to provide information that is verifiable by an independent third party, i.e. an evaluator. And this can, I mean, it's essentially demonstrating either that you're in the business of financing social innovation, and then you can actually call upon your legal identity to do that, or, as we said, that you have funded social innovation projects in the past, in which case you can simply provide the proof that you have done that in previous times. I hope this answers the question.
If I can add something, that in the submission system, there's only a possibility to add the Part B. So actually within those 70 pages, the applicants will have to describe sufficiently this experience or being a funder of social innovation, be it a copy of a certificate. I don't think it's necessary. It's possible if it fits within the pages, but I'd say it's more important to have publicly available information that can be verified by the evaluators as well, or referred. Just like when we are asking about experience of the consortium, and then they give us the list of previous projects that they have participated in. So I would think there should be some publicly available information about this.
Okay, thank you very much. So now the next one is, I think it's for you again, if you don't mind taking it.
Oh, the framework partnership. So the FPA will not have a budget. So that's why there's no additional annex to describe the details of the financial support to third party. This additional annex will be actually necessary for the next step, for those who will be invited to submit a specific grant agreement, an application. So here we expect that really the concept will be described, and the process of selection and award in, I would say, main lines, whatever fits in the 70 pages, because it's really mainly about the action plan of the FPA itself and the concept itself. The other details of the financial support to third party will be in the SGA proposal.
Thank you, Agnes. And actually, since I understand that the Slido questions will not be displayed in the recording, I will read the answer after you have answered it. Read the question after you have answered it. So the question was, have we understood correctly the financial support to third parties annex is not required, instead the process of selection and awarding of funding is included within the 70 pages. The next question is, will the FPA proposals receive an ESR considering their evaluation? I think that the answer is yes. Yeah.
Yes. Everybody will receive the evaluation results. In addition, those who will be invited to submit to the next step, to the specific grant agreement, then they will receive an invitation to the next step as well.
So, thank you. Now, we don't have any more questions displayed on Slido. We're not going to rush and close this this session, although we're not far from the end anyway. So let's see if you have one final question. Otherwise,
I may. Thank you. I
Go
may
ahead.
add something to this from a part of the question on Slido. We also are having some colleagues that are following this event, and I got a request for explanation or clarification from a colleague on what I said about the followers concept. So in the cross 0201, the university action. I wanted just to make clear on this concept. So, for example, what we are targeting here is we want to fund some research or innovation activity which is new, which is not the follow-up from other actions contained, for example, in previous years of the work program. I can give you some example from the ocean missions in 2021 and 22. There were some demonstration actions that then require an activity, like a sustainability activity from the consortium, and it happened already that members of a previous call just used an additional action to keep receiving funding on a specific event, on a specific element that was supposed already to be achieved by the previous funding. So one thing that I wanted to point out is that we will take this into consideration at the moment of the application, and I invite you all the consortium that are applying to this action to please make an effort and target some local research and innovation activities.
Thank you, Giovanni. So maybe we should conclude, and as a way to conclude, I propose that each one of us gives a few final words. So my final words would be, we are innovating while financing innovation, and we count on you to make this a success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.